Well, greetings. Do you ever wonder how politicians seem to get so rich, even when they come from relatively humble backgrounds? It started off with Edward Heath, did it not? Son of a grocer, finishing his career as an ocean-going yacht racer, the most expensive sport in the world. And then you've seen Tony Blair, who came from relatively humble background, or certainly modest background, making himself one of the richest men in the world. We've seen the outgoing Prime Minister of New Zealand, similarly, from a modest background, a very significantly rich woman. And it's very interesting that how they accumulate this wealth. And of course, they set out foundations, like Bill Clinton sets up a foundation and so on and so forth. They set up this wonderful foundation, which is pro bono publico, but it's not really. It's all about political control and global political control. So you have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, multi-billions, and they buy everybody in sight. And they corrupt everybody in sight with their vast wealth. They've totally corrupted and stamped out investigative journalism. The last investigative journalist was, of course, Julian Assange, who's been locked up for years without the writ of habeas corpus, quite contrary to the principles of British law. And I've mentioned this kind of thing before. So they seem to get very wealthy, which they haven't got on their political salaries. And of course, money sticks to fingers. Money sticks to fingers. And it's interesting, is it not? And I've been looking at the Conservative Woman homepage, who, bless them, have done quite a lot of work on this. If you go back to 2011, you'll find just how much they have bought politicians and political stooges, and how much of your taxpayers' money goes to these foundations, would you believe, and their pet projects. We worked it out at £7.5 billion of British taxpayers' money going to these foundations. This is extraordinary transfer of wealth from poor people in this country to some of the richest men that the world has ever known. And of course, nobody's exposing it because all the journalists are bought and paid for, political journalists are bought and paid for. They're all part of the same shambles, the same corrupt situation. And when Andrew Bridgen was accused, was suggesting that there was, of course, all sorts of corruption in the pharmaceutical world and all the rest of it, and conspiracy, Penny Mordaunt suggested that he shouldn't be looking at conspiracy theories, and it was all quite wrong. And if you look at the clip of her in the House of Parliament, what was interesting, she couldn't meet his eye. She couldn't take her eyes off her notes. These people's body language gives it all away. They're all dreadful crooks. And they've all had their hand in the till. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's Boris Johnson, it doesn't matter whether it's George Osborne. All these people are stooges of the World Economic Forum. And it's not even a conspiracy theory, is it? You've only got to Google the World Economic Forum webpage, and you can see the pictures of all these people being photographed on the platform with the WEF. And sadly, that includes King Charles III and his son, now the Prince of Wales, Prince William. These people all seem to share the same goals of control, cities, 15-minute cities and all the rest of it, which seems to be where it's going at your expense, without your vote, without your democratic input. I just thought I'd mention that because it's a sad thing that there's a simple demise of investigative journalism, because without the protection of a free press, this can't stop. And of course, we know that the massive contributions that Bill Gates makes to mainstream media, which is why he's never ever criticised. He's never criticised. He virtually owns the Guardian newspaper, so on and so forth. So we can't seem to move forward without independent press. And of course, we have censorship on social media as well. If you actually run up the flag about these people and start criticising, they mysteriously disappear. And of course, if you run the flag up with the Bill Clinton Foundation, you actually don't just disappear from social media, you disappear from the planet. All very depressing, isn't it? As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research based, and I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.